So all day I've been getting the download from God to say, tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. It's literally been popping up 3 times. I woke up out of my sleep and got on a Instagram live and someone was telling their story. And I'm like, okay, God, message is received. Because if someone told me a year ago that I would be where I am today, I just wouldn't have believed them. I mean, a year ago, I was married. I was working a 6-figure job. I was living in my house. And then I've literally been praying to God, like I've been wanting to get out of this loveless marriage. So now I'm divorced. I've been saying like I want to get out of the house. It's too big. So now I'm selling my house. And I took the entrepreneurial leap of faith, quitting my 6-figure job with absolutely no plans. So it's like whenever it's time to make that move, you make that move. But I just would have never expected it to happen. It's like, you know, that you can want something or desire something so bad, and then when you get it and it's not wrapped up in this pretty bow as you was expecting it to be, it's like, well, damn, did I really want this? So here I am now. God's like, it's time to tell your story. It's time to tell your story. So let's tell the story. Hi, Taya Beautiful Guru here, manifesting goddess, energy alchemist, self-awareness advocate, and it's time to tell my story. So let's go. And I'm telling my story because even if this message just reach one person to let them know to keep going and that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and where you are right now is not the end of your story, it is being written in that present moment. This is why I'm here. I'm here to inspire and to let you know to keep going. Where you are right now is not the end of your story. So my story is long, it's beautiful, it's full of resilience, perseverance, determination, challenges, obstacles, victories, testimonies, and I am so proud of my story. So this is why God told me now it's time to tell my story. So let's tell it. So I want to say about 2019, maybe, yeah, 2019, I lost one of my sisters to sickle cell, rest in peace. And literally the moment I lost her, my body went into such stress. I didn't even realize how stressed I was in life because I had such high functioning anxiety. I didn't even recognize it as anxiety until my body started shutting down on me. And when I say shutting down, I mean I was in the ER probably 5 days out of the 7. I was tachycardic. I was passing out. I couldn't eat. I lost 30 pounds. And literally no one could figure out what's wrong with me. All they kept telling me is it's anxiety, it's anxiety, anxiety. But mind you, I've never been diagnosed with anxiety before. And I'm like, I wasn't as anxious as I feel not knowing what's going on. So I'm like, it has to be more. I literally thought I was going to die. And I had a 2-year-old at the time. I was married at the time. I had a 2-year-old. And in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be my life for the rest of my life. I can't even play with my child. Like, I can't even stand up for 2 minutes without passing out. I mean, my heart rate would be 170 as I'm brushing my teeth. So when they kept telling me it's anxiety, I was like, no, I know it's something more. I know my body. It's not anxiety. So it took one ER doctor to do a quick test where he would have me lay down, stand up to see where my heart rate would fluctuate. And long story short, he said maybe it was POTS. I've never heard of POTS. It's posterior orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I've never heard of it before this moment. And I'm like, okay, is this going to kill me? And he was like, no, you need to see a specialist. I've seen so many doctors, guys, so many, from functional medicine, cardiologists, neurologists, I don't know, GI doctors. I had so many doctors, probably like 10 doctors, and still I was not getting better. They would put me on medication. I still would not get better. So, of course, at this point, you learn to take your own health in your hands. Like, if no one's going to get me better, I have to take my own health in my hands. Eventually, I was diagnosed with POTS, and I was put on some beta blockers, but it would just tank out my heart rate to the point where I will go into bradycardia. If you don't know what that is, that's when your heart rate drops to a really low rate. Literally, my heart rate would be down in the 40s and 30s, to where that felt worse than tachycardia for me, because I felt like I was going to die. Literally every single day I thought I was going to be my last day on earth. I thought I was going to die. Even though the doctors would tell you POTS cannot kill you, if you're living in a POTS body, for all of those out there living in a POTS body, they know the feeling of feeling like you're going to die versus someone telling you you're going to be okay. So long story short, I pray to God. This is the biggest takeaway from my story, is the power of prayer and the power of faith. Every single day I was praying to God. And before POTS, I was doing CrossFit. I mean, literally the day that I passed out that morning, I was in the gym doing CrossFit. And then that night is when I passed out. And then my whole world changed after that. I mean, it got so bad. I could not go to the gas station because the POTS would make me so anxious, to where I would be in the gas station. I would hear people talking. I would hear the cash register. I would hear dishwashers. Like, everything was so heightened. I could not handle it. I mean, I literally was crying every day. And I was still going to the ER because I still felt like I was going to die. And this went on for months, probably a year that I was in the ER. Eventually, power of prayer, I just kept saying to myself, tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow will be better. Every single day I would say tomorrow would be better. And little by little, tomorrow would get better. There, like, that little intuition, that little voice in your head that's telling you, steering you in the right direction, follow it. So I was introduced to a herb, turmeric. Turmeric was the first herb that I was introduced to. After I realized I had a lot of inflammation in my gut. Mind you, if you have not had your gut checked, I suggest you get your gut checked. If you are struggling with anything, get your gut checked. But I had a gut test. I can't remember the name of the test, where they checked like inflammation within my body and my stool. So the test revealed I had so much inflammation in my body, and it was due to chronic stress. I mean, I was in a stressful marriage. I was a new parent. I was just stressed out, but I had a high function anxiety, and I'm an overachiever. Like, as a child, I've always been that overachieving, like, oh, she's getting straight A's. I mean, I graduated college, top of my class. So I had high function anxiety, and everyone would like, oh, she's the perfect one. So naturally, these types of pressures that are placed upon you by other people are weighing on you on ways you don't even know, until your body literally physically cannot handle it anymore, and it starts to shut down. So back to the present, where it was, I started taking turmeric. I just started doing turmeric. My body revealed I had a lot of inflammation. The medication the doctors had me on wasn't working. My cardiologist ended up telling me to stop taking everything because I had POTS, and it wasn't necessarily like another condition. And I guess because the medication was making me worse, he's like, you're going to have to find a natural route because this medication is just making you worse, to where you rather just deal with the POTS. So he's like, he told me, my cardiologist is the one that actually told me about turmeric. He's like, this is an inflammation inflammation medication or herb. So just try this. So I started taking turmeric a few days a week. And mind you, once I'm in POTS and my body is reacting to literally every single thing I put in it, I was terrified of medication. Physically terrified. Anytime I would take something, I would have someone watch me to make sure that my body wouldn't react. So even taking an herb, I was terrified on how my body was going to react to this herb. So turmeric was the first herb that I started taking. And I noticed after a few weeks, I was feeling a little better. And then as you're following your intuition, following your guidance, following the divine, God will continue to lead you down a path of healing. So as I'm taking turmeric, there's other herbs that I'm coming across as I'm researching. I started taking 5-HTP for my anxiety because anxiety medication just wasn't working for me. It would just make me worse. I was going into depression at this point. So I started taking 5-HTP, turmeric, vitamin D, and I want to say it was another salt. I'm definitely sure I was taking Himalayan salt, all just to keep my body calm. And I was still repeating to myself because I still was obviously feeling bad, but not as terrible as I was feeling probably a year before that. But so I was saying to myself, tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow would be better. So eventually, as I'm taking these herbs and learning my body, eventually tomorrow was better. So this was about 3 or 4 years ago. Let's fast forward to last year. So last year, at this point, I can like walk without like passing out. Like I'm pretty much living my normal life. I will have pot symptoms here and there within the last 2 years, but nothing that was debilitating as before, to where I literally couldn't leave my house. So last year, I'm taking a walk. Before, like I said, I was doing CrossFit, so I haven't been in the gym because my body just couldn't handle it. But I was taking a walk, and God told me during this walk, you're going to be back in the gym before the end of the year. And at this point, I'm deep in my faith, so I don't question anything that God tells me. I'm just happy, like, okay, I'm going to be back in the gym. So I'm just going through the year, still thinking like, okay, this was probably last April. I'm going towards the end of the year, still haven't made it back in the gym. So November comes, and for whatever reason, God, how he works, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go get a gym membership. So I went to the gym, and I am so proud of myself. I've been in the gym consistently since November of 2023. It is now May 2024, and I am working out 4 to 5 days a week. I am lifting. I am strong. I mean, I am the strongest I've been physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I am just strong. So I feel like that part of my story was for me to learn to build the resilience up that I'm going to need in this current chapter. So let's fast forward to the chapter where I'm in now. I mean, last year I was married, had my house, working a 6-figure job. And where I'm at now, guys, let's just say that ain't it. That is not it. So, my marriage ended about a year ago, February 2023. And before my marriage ended, people know when their marriage is going to end, usually years before it actually ends. And I was praying to God for years. We was together 15 years, married for 6 of those years, literally all of my 20s. I'm now in my mid-30s, literally had pretty much my entire adult life with this man. But I was praying to God for years, like, show me a sign if this, if this shouldn't end. And I was deep in the church. So, of course, divorce is seen as a sin within the church. So I'm like, I don't want a divorce, but I'm still praying to God, like, show me a sign. And things would just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And if you guys ever ask God to show you a sign, he's going to show you this sign. It's up to you if you're going to listen. So he's showing me these signs. Things are just getting worse and worse. I'm like, well, it's adversity, marriage is going to make us resilient. Like, let's just keep going. So I'm staying in this marriage for years, way beyond that I should. Fast forward, I lost my dad about 3 years ago. This was my sign. This was the sign for me. So I lost my dad 3 years ago to cancer. Rest in peace. That was one of my best friends. Miss him every day. Actually in the old bed. But so I lost my dad, and the way my ex-husband handled my loss for me, it was just not support. And for me, that was like, I was like, okay, God, this is clear to me that this man is not for me. He's not a terrible person. He's just not the person for me. So eventually, still after that, we went to therapy. Grief counselors like, well, you don't need to make any rash decisions about your life while you're still grieving. I'm like, okay, but I mean, I didn't want to be in this marriage anymore before I lost my dad. And now the way this has been handled, I really don't want to be in this marriage. But I'm going to stay in it. I understand I'm grieving. I just lost my father. I'm gonna stay with it. So a year went by. We bought a house. Mind you, while we're buying the house, I'm still telling this man, like, if we buy this house, we're going to be roommates. I'm still on the fence about us. So a year later, still married, buy a house. And I'm still in the mindset where it's like, okay, we can do all of these things, but I just do not want to be married to this person. I'm like, I don't feel like he's my person. I feel like the disrespect on both ends is just not worth it. He can be happier with someone else. I can be happier with someone else. Like, we're just not loving each other properly. So eventually I did file for divorce. Our divorce was final February of last year, but I eventually filed for divorce when I was just like, I keep asking God for these signs. Stuff just getting worse. So this is the sign. Like, we just need to end it. We've had a lovely time together. We have a child. In my mind, I'm like, he's not a bad person. Just romantically, we're just not aligned. foundationally we're not aligned. We got together when we were really young. There were signs. Signs are always there before you actually fully commit. There were signs there, but we continued. So it is what it is. We got a beautiful baby girl out of it. So, divorce. In the midst of all this, listening to God, I'm going to continue to listen to God because that's my homie. We like this. We're like this. So he's like, quit your 6-figure job, step into your purpose. You know what this purpose is. You've been doing for years. You have this gift where you help people improve the quality of their life. You need to fully immerse yourself in this gift. So then I started my website, soulthrivecommunity.com. Quit my 6-figure job, no plans. I mean, I have a house, I have a car. I mean, I have an expensive car. So I'm like, I have these car payments, I have bills, everything. But me taking my leap of faith, I'm like, God's been having my back all this time. Like, he got me through literally the worst time of my entire life. I know that the divine is going to get me through this. Like, he wouldn't tell me to do something if he didn't have a plan for me. This is where faith is. You walk by faith, not by sight. So even though I can't see what it is because I'm a human, I know God sees this plan for me. So I quit my job. I've been praying for this. Like, I want out of my marriage. I want out of this job. I just want to live in my purpose. So this is what I'm doing. Quit my job, got out of my marriage. And when I tell you, I was not expecting this life. So everyone has always viewed me as a put together person. And I'm big on preaching authenticity. And I'm sure this is how I appear to everyone else, that I'm put together, I have it together. And I'm finally at the point where I can admit to myself and everyone else who seems to think I have it put together, I do not have this shit figured out. I mean, now look at me. A year later, I'm now divorced. I'm selling my house. I have a car payment. I'm like, how do I even still have this car? Like, through God, like, somehow I have this money to pay this car payment. Right now I'm sitting at my parents' house because I'm selling my house, and I truly don't know where I'm going after this. Like, am I moving? I'm in my hometown. I'm like, am I moving back to my hometown? And I'm staying in Dallas. And then when people ask me, like, what are my steps? Like, what am I going to do next? I'm like, I'm just trying to get through today. I'm truly just trying to get through today. Don't ask me what I'm going to do tomorrow. Don't ask me what I'm going to do 6 months from now. I'm getting through today. Whatever God tells me to do today, that is what I'm doing. So today, I'm like, I can say May for me is all about embracing authenticity. I've been embracing authenticity all month. Like, there's no need to pretend that you have life figured out. I know social media have people thinking that other people have things figured out, but truly no one has life figured out. Everyone is just doing day by day what they think is best for themselves. So you don't have to think or compare your life to someone else. No one has this shit all figured out. So where I am now, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've been praying to God. God is going to show me the sign. And in my mind, I feel like what I've gone through building perseverance, strength, wisdom, faith, unwavering faith, has prepared me for where I am now. If you ever look back on your story, you will realize everything that you have gone through has truly prepared you for this very moment you're in now. Because if I did not have my faith in God, or the challenges and obstacles that I've overcome that I am now living testimony for, there is absolutely no way that I feel like I would mentally, spiritually, physically be able to handle this point in my life. Like, literally, there's just no way that I would feel like I would be able to handle it. So the point is to tell you that wherever you are now, just look back. If you ever want to doubt if you're going to get through where you are now, look back on what you faced before. You have survived and persevered every single one of those challenges and obstacles that you faced before. And if you don't have faith in yourself, have faith in God, because look at that track record. You have gotten through every single one of those challenges. So there is no reason for you not to think that you're going to get through the challenge where you are now. So I'm just here to tell you to keep going. If I can keep going, average girl, 36, still happy. You can see I'm still smiling despite what I'm facing right now, because I'm telling y'all, it's some stuff. But I'm still happy because I still have my faith. I still have that trust in me. I still have that self-confidence. And I know if I don't have to go off my track record, I'm going off the divine's track record. And I've gotten through much worse than what I'm going through now. I've gone through much worse than I'm going through now. Like I said, health is wealth. And if I've gotten through them health problems and I persevered and survived those, there's no way that this physical stuff is going to get me down. No way financial stuff is going to get me down, because I have God and I have the faith and confidence within myself. So if this resonates with you, like, comment, subscribe, tell your story. This is the time. Tell your story. But thank you. Bye.